Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Happy new week. Hope you're doing amazing. I'm fresh off the plane from Sydney, actually, where my author that's next to me is currently living. So we've got Jennifer Webster, who on Facebook is Jennifer Hunt. So in case you see that on Facebook, that's what it kind of means. But she has just recently published and released her new book, Don't Be Bitter, Be Better, which is the conversation about the topic today. And she is going to talk about happy, healthy, and herbal. So thank you so much for joining me, Jennifer. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Good morning, Nat.
All right, let's give you your official introduction of who you are, and then we'll get stuck into the awesome wisdom that you've got to share. So, guys, Jennifer Webster is the matriarch of a can-do family of 6. She's an accomplished practitioner of naturopathy, natural nutritional medicine, iridology, kinesiology, yoga, meditation, and is considered a mind-body guru. She's also recognized as an expert in Western Herbal Medicine and is often sought out for mentoring and tutoring. Trading as Traditional Herbal Remedies, Jennifer has conducted a busy holistic care practice in excess of 25 years, located at Engadine in Sydney South. Hopefully I said that right. She is a regular speaker at cancer support groups within hospitals, plus community groups, and has addressed international conferences. She's a strong advocate for mind-body medicine and integrative care, advocating the use of natural remedies in conjunction with established medical practices. This can be often controversial and drove her to exposing this unnecessary conflict by authoring Don't Be Bitter, Be Better. She captures the emotions of readers as she takes them on an unbelievable but true adventure following her son's rare cancer diagnosis. All right, Jen, so wow, there's so much in that, so many big things that you have done over the years. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, the culmination of all this knowledge and that defining moment when you said, I actually need to write the story or to break all this up. What was it that kind of, where did that come from?
The defining moment. Well, look, I suppose as far as the natural medicine side of it goes, I've always been interested in natural medicine, like even as a child, because my mother used to take me to a herbalist. So, she was right into the natural medicines. So, from a very young age, I've been exposed to it, studied it at quite a young age, especially having 4 boys, and as you know, with kids, they're always getting something. So, back in when Matt was diagnosed in 2014, which obviously was a hell of a shock because he had been brought up, really great diet. He was super fit and healthy.
Right.
And sort of, anyway, went down that track. So, basically from that point, you had to use conventional medicines alongside, herbal medicine and nutraceuticals to basically get him through that. So, the reason why I basically wrote the book was to help to inspire people, and also like we had a really unique, unimaginable and unforgettable story to tell. Yeah. Plus I've got, a wealth of knowledge within the complementary health business or, scenario, that I would like to impart to people as well. Yeah, and over the years, like, my husband is a behavioural nutritionist, also a researcher. So combined with, both of us together, we've got 35 years of clinical practice, that we've sort of brought into this, to get through this.
So tell me about the book a little bit more. Like, is it that whole journey and the story, or has it got like, I guess, all the suggestions and tips of what you guys tried and all that? Can you tell us a little bit, what would a reader get from reading Don't Be Bitter, Be Better?
Reader's going to get a lot from it.
Yes.
Okay, so basically the story is about the tenacity and determination of, we'll say, of Matt, my son, to really, push through and get past a lot of things that basically happened to him, we will say. You know, his story basically started like when he was living overseas, and, you know, living and working overseas. And he was diagnosed like with the beginning of partial paraplegia in his spine because he had a tumor in his spine. So, you know, like we brought him back to Australia, but kind of went from, you know, being told one thing in one country to then having surgery here, being told something else, which is like watch and see, to a very quick, slippery slope into, you know, a drastic diagnosis. And, you know, really like what I do is, you know, really sort of delve into that whole experience, like the big slippery slope to hell, we would say. And what it took to basically get through him. So yes, using all the skills that I've got, like basically you had to use all the skills you've got. You know, my husband David, like having to use all of his skills as well. And, you know, Matt, like he's an engineer, so, you know, again, he's got an inquiring mind. So really between us, you know, it was a huge effort to get him through, you know, a lot of surgeries in a very short period of time. Yeah. And, you know, I suppose, you know, just the determination to push beyond the limitations of conventional medicine, you know, because at the end of the day, after being told like it's watch and see, you know, go live your life, we'll just have to check this every blah, 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 to, you know, within a year of basically being told that there's nothing else that we can do for you. Like, that's it.
Wow.
You know, and he was 25 by that stage. So, you know, I mean, I wasn't buying any of that. Like there was no way, absolutely no way that I was prepared to lose my son. You know, and you have to think like the world is a big place, you know. Unfortunately for Matt, which we didn't realize at the time, like when he was, you know, first diagnosed, like it took a long time for the pathology to come back, like 6 weeks, because his condition was so rare. And then we found out like he was only the second person in Australia to have what he had. And then, you know, out of the 10 billion people worldwide, there was only, you know, something like 100 that had been diagnosed with it. So, yeah, it's, you know, the story is about like pushing beyond the limitations that have been set. You know, we had, you know, labs in the biggest pathology lab in the world basically saying, we can't help you with this. We've never seen this before. You know, good luck. So yeah. So it is about that journey. It is about, you know, what we did to get him through it.
Yes.
You know, with holistic medicine, it is about treating the whole person. So, and I think that's one thing that I do probably drive home quite well in the book. I think, you know, conventional medicine can be a little bit one size fits all, you know, with the treatment strategies. So for most disease states, but especially if you've got something that's a little bit more severe, you know, they'll just say, okay, well, this is the class of drugs that you use, which obviously don't suit everyone. And when you've got something that is totally out of the box, I mean, it's not going to suit you. So it was about searching, you know, for a strategy, you know, where I suppose like you have to really individualize that care, that was where we went with that. So with me prescribing herbal medicines, I mean, I would change that all the time. His formula, I would have to be changing all the time, depending on what treatment he was being given by conventional therapies, or if he just had surgeries, or if they had him on, you know, whatever drugs that they had him on at the time, because you don't want any contraindications with, you know, anything else that he's taking. Plus, you know, I had him on a range of nutraceuticals again, but again, that would change all the time. So depending on what the person's got wrong with them, depending on their constitution, which is your body's strength that you're being born with. Okay, depending on your genetic susceptibility, you know, depending on the drugs that you're taking, or, you know, just other environmental factors, it's not a one size fits all. So I think this is again, like I didn't put specific herbal formulas in the book.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
No.
You know, like you could have 10 people and they could all have the same condition, but those 10 people would be a different prescription for those 10 people.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's got to be personalised, like very much personalised care. Yeah.
Yeah.
To get them through.
And that's what you really do. This is what you do day in and day out, don't you?
Day in, day out. That's it. Day in, day out. Yeah. And I've been, you know, I suppose like helping people with cancer, like, you know, navigate the hospital system, like navigate the drugs, or, you know, some people don't want to take anything until they're finished, like with the conventional therapies. And then it is about rebuilding their body or rebuilding their immune system. So I just work with what the person basically wants. Yeah. 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 You don't want to cross boundaries, basically.
Exactly. And how lucky, I guess, you know, that you did what you did. And, you know, I mean, you didn't know this was going to happen in your life. And you had studied all these, you know, amazing things for all your life. And you always, you know, how they say something happens for a reason. And
I know,
you know how blessed Matt was to have you as his mum, you know, to go through all of this. So you say your body is a universe, don't focus on one island. So what do you mean by that?
Your body is a universe. So I think some people can get hooked into, well, let's just say, okay, you know, somebody comes in and like their main thing is they've got bronchitis, and they keep getting bronchitis all the time, like every couple of months. So their whole focus is with their lungs. They're not worried about anything else. It's just their lungs. But, you know, you've got to look at, well, I call it like the triangle of health. So, you know, all three sides of the triangle have to be even. So you've got your environment, which means, you know, everything that's around you. You have your biochemical and physical body, and then you have your mental or, you know, epigenetic side. So, you know, your emotional side. So if you've got any of those three areas that are out of balance, there's something that's going to be wrong you know, with you physically, and especially with chronic conditions. It's not just that you've got bronchitis, like there's other factors that are coming into it, and it won't just be your lungs that are affected, probably more systemic, unless, hey, you know, look at the immune system, look at, you know, maybe there's allergies, or maybe there's a lot of grief, so grief's got to do with the lungs, you know, like I think it's just looking at the whole picture, not just kind of going, okay, there's this one little bit that's out of sync, that's all I need help with, you know, which probably is what drugs do, like your conventional drugs just target that one area, but then, you know, they can have side effects in different areas of the body as well. So,
we know all about that. Absolutely. Tell me, and it is about looking at it holistically, because, I mean, they've so much talk, you know, over the years, you know, the mind-body connection, the psychosomatic you know, manifestation of ailments, you know, and trying to connect the dots. It's not as simple, like, you know, and the universe is complicated, like, as we know, and so is the body. And I think mixing both traditional and, you know, the stuff that you do is kind of a really good formula to give yourself the best chance.
It's definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go.
Yeah. So then let's talk about the mindset, because you're a very positive, enthusiastic person. And talk to me a little bit about, I mean, you know, what is your life like now, and how did you get through these last 7 years since all of this happened?
Look, I think life throws everyone, you know, curly surprises along the way, doesn't it? Like, really, it really does. And I do think your mindset from the outset, and whether it's nature, nurture, which has probably got a lot to do with it. You know, obviously we're all born with, you know, certain personality types, but then depending on how you've been brought up, or, you know, those around you, which obviously influences how you think. So look, I mean, going through that, yes, obviously, like, if, you know, if one of your kids is that sick, I mean, it's it can be sort of quite confronting, especially, you know, some of the things that he had to endure, like some of the surgeries that went wrong, we would say. Yeah, so that was really challenging, but as you say, I mean, I have over a long period of time, like I love anything to do with psychology or the mind. So, you know, one of the areas that I did sort of specialize in is psychoneuroimmunology. So, you know, about the way that we think and what impact it has on the body, and also you know, did years of training with kinesiologists as a kinesiologist, you know, or even, you know, training kinesiologists. So, and a lot of that is based on emotions and, you know, how you deal with certain things, and hey, you know, let's not dwell on that, or, you know, let's make goals or affirmations, whatever else. So I do have a very strong mindset of, you know, trying to live for the day, which again, that brings into our yoga principles, right?
Yes.
So, you know, we're not going to dwell on what happened yesterday or last week or last year, you know, you know, I suppose that can sort of create like a lot of anxiety and depression, you know, so it is about bringing everything back to today and not trying to project too far forward. You know, I think my husband sort of said a very long time ago, life is like a book. You know, you open the page at that book, that's where we are today. You know, when you wake up tomorrow, turn the page. It's a new day. Let's just start that day again. So yeah.
I watched the reel on social media last night, and it actually it just brings me back with the concept of so many people get anxious about the future or what's going to happen and all that kind of stuff. And this lady, I don't know who she was, but it actually really was a penny dropping moment of what we could do to not get into that state. And she said, just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the next question is, what if it works out? You know, what if it works out? You know, it's just like a 6, you know, because a lot of what's going to happen if this and that, you're trying to create a million different scenarios. And you're not a fortune teller or something, you know, that you can predict. So, but what if it works out, you know, because I know this is a very serious situation you guys were in, but people in daily life, you know, have anxieties about so many different things that being present in the moment, like you say, is so important.
It's about being present. And I suppose, like, when you look at the research, they will say that 90% of the things that people worry about, like have anxiety about, like the future, don't ever eventuate.
Exactly.
Like it never eventuates.
So
all that time you spent, you know, getting yourself all worked up and stressed out for nothing.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I do it to myself. I'm very future. My personality is that I'm always kind of thinking and planning ahead because of events and things that I want to create in my life. But sometimes that can also be overwhelming, or it's like, you know, just kind of predicting about the future, what's happening today, and could be something negative that happened today or whatever it is. And, you know, and I don't know, for me, it was like, oh, okay, what if it works out? Just say that to myself and get on with like the normal. I love it. So talk to me about, for every problem, there is an answer. If it doesn't fit, use a bigger hammer. What does that mean?
Absolutely. And I think this was really driven home with this story that I've written about Matt. So my goodness me, like there were so many problems that came up along the way, or, you know, just had doors shut in your face, or things didn't, you know, treatments or surgeries didn't go to plan, or, you know, especially, I suppose the big one was, there's something else that we can do for you. Like that's it, end of line. And I just thought, like hell, like, no, absolutely no way.
That's not an option.
No, it definitely wasn't an option. And I mean, it never was an option the whole way through this, not at all. You know, from the start of this, I told Matt I'd get him through it, and I had his back, you know, and there's no way that I was dropping that promise. So we sort of really, you know, pushed a lot of doors open, like really pushed through, I suppose, where most people may not have, or you know, they may not have, you know, had the research capabilities or the knowledge needed to sort of get through this. So no, we were going to find, you know, what was going to work for him. and, get that sorted. So, he could be living his best life as well. Yeah.
So what is he doing now? I'm just curious, like what?
Yeah, so he's an engineer. So he lives in Newcastle. So he's just built his house. He's studying his masters. He's got a really super busy life. With a beautiful girl. So yeah, he's having a great time. He's good.
Yep.
He travels overseas a bit. So his twin brother lives over in Japan. So he's just been over there for work and to visit him. Yeah. So no, he's doing really well.
Amazing. All right. So tell me a little bit about then the process of writing the book. You worked with us in what we call a hybrid approach, where you had some mentoring with Stuart one-to-one to help you unpack and all that. And then you came to some of your support calls through the publishing journey. And then we did the publishing package. So how was all that? Because I'm always curious when people are a little bit on their own outside of the retreat style program. Obviously you are quite motivated. We can tell that, that's why I think you said to us, I think out of most people who say, I'll do this, and then they just leave the publishing package kind of sit on the shelf there for years. You came in, you said what you're going to do. And I'm so glad that Stuart said, I think she's going to do it, because a lot of the time we doubt when people just choose a publishing package, because they're going to be on their own, and they really don't start working with us until it's time to publish. So tell me a little bit about that journey behind the scenes.
Okay, well, you're quite right. I'm very motivated and very time orientated. So if I set myself a task, I will do it. I'll get through it.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just so pleased that I found you guys. I think from the minute that I heard you talking, I just thought, you're really authentic and transparent, and I like that. And I could see that you're also quite motivated. So that was like a tick for me.
Yes.
I think, again, like as I said, Matt and I had spoken about writing the book, like, because 2015 was just a ridiculous year, just too much happening.
Yes.
And said, I've got to write this book, but it's, obviously it took a few more years to just sort of get through to, stability. And then it was me having time to do it. So in my head, I thought, yep, I'm going to write this book. But then I think, like, after listening to you guys and, speaking to Stuart, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Like doing, like, all the framework. And then I wasn't even thinking about, the board and the introduction and all the rest of the bits and pieces. Yeah. So you guys, like, providing, that set framework for me to work on. And yeah, just being able to ring up and talk to Stuart or, Vivi or Julie or whatever. I mean, just having that level of support there is great. Or, you guys answering emails. So, which was good, and I think, like, working to a timeline as well, like getting, and all your little tips, along the way, like how to make things a little bit easier or whatever. So
there's so much that goes into it. Yeah, doesn't it?
No, I'm really, like, really happy. Like, I just think, you guys do an awesome job. This package 100% suited me. Like, it was just right up my alley. Yeah, so it was all good.
Can I ask you a question about a little bit of your process at home? Because obviously you didn't do the retreat stuff. And by the way, good morning to those people who have been saying good morning to us and awesome and all that. Did you set a particular time to work in the weeks? Like, did you do, like, how I say 2 hours twice a week? That's how I did my first book. And like you say, I didn't know what I didn't know, because I didn't know people like me existed. So I was just like, I thought you just opened a Word document.
Yeah, that's it.
So what was your process in terms of, because, some of our authors speak out their books and that's how they get it done super fast, and others choose to type. What was your, like, brief explanation of how you went through the process and to reach the handover to publishing of the manuscript?
So I think I touched base with you guys, like it was late September or early October last year. And then, you said about, unpacking your book. So, which, I hadn't even thought about that. So basically what we did, I just set probably about 4 hours a week to start with, by just after work, to unpack the book.
Okay.
All right, we had a holiday booked. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 nights. Anyway, down the Snowy Mountains in November.
Yep.
So I actually, one of the apps that you guys said to download so that you could just speak into it. So I took all my notes down for the unpack. So that 4 days was spent in a very beautiful cabin, with a long fire, Wild Brumby Distillery nearby. So that was good. So a couple of glasses of snacks with a nice view. And basically, I just did the whole book.
You did speak it. So
I spoke the whole book,
nice.
while I was down there. And then, obviously you have to fix that up because it doesn't always translate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, so for me, that was an easy way to do it. But I needed to be away from work because if I'm if I'm near the clinic, I'm just going to be working in the clinic. So I just had to take that break, do it that way, and that was a perfect way to do it. So
Yeah, so you did follow what we suggested, and you kind of created your own retreat, right? And and then had to go through the cleanup and all that. No, I love the fact that we met. I think we met not even a year ago. I remember we were on a Cairns holiday and we were just doing some of our follow-up conversations after a seminar. And I remember Stuart telling me about you and all that. And then, we're sitting here 11 months later and you work very, very self-reliant and disciplined to complete the program successfully. So congratulations. So let's tell the guys who are listening and who are watching this on a recording on our podcast, where can they get the book? Obviously we've got it here on the screen. We've got your website, right? traditionalherbsguys.com.au if you're just listening to this. And let me just share my screen. I'll show you a little bit on the website. I've got it opened up here. There's the website. If you just kind of scroll down, there's the book. You can find out a lot more about Jennifer's business and what she does. And then she's got her little online store here as well. That's got various things that she has. And so if you need an expert in her field, then I can't recommend you highly enough. For you to have overcome this journey with Matt, and he's thriving in life now. When people said that he could, there was nothing else you could do, that's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure you're helping other people in various situations doing
all the time.
All the time. I love that. I love that. So guys, go get the book, read the story and maybe open up your mind in terms of what else is possible, because there's not just one way to solve a problem, right? There's so many different things. Even in business, you've had your own business in 25 years and I've been around. There's never not an option. There's never not an option. Business, health, relationships, you just have to be willing to go and learn. And reading books like this is exactly that, is learning and expanding your awareness of what you didn't know. Yeah. Any last parting words? Do you have a favorite quote you want to share?
So, look, I think probably the last parting words are never think that you're helpless. I think the word helpless, which was another reason why I wrote the book, because I just think no one is helpless. There's always something that you can do. Just look outside the square. You don't have to live within the square. Look outside. Yeah. And I just say expand your mind, because there's always other ways. Yeah,
absolutely. You're either green or growing, or you're ripe and rotting, as they say. And that was repeated a few times at the conference. I've been saying it also for the last 12 years, but continue growing, because you've got the beautiful flowers there behind you in your screenshot. So that's a nice metaphor for that one. Thank you, Jen, so much. I can't wait to see where all of this kind of takes you. I know you've had awesome feedback where people haven't gone to sleep till 3 a.m. You were telling me earlier, reading the story in the book and continue helping and saving lives. That's what it's all about. I'm sure that makes you feel amazing when you're able to facilitate that for people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Well, that's it for another Monday morning live with Nat. And thank you to Jen being our guest today. I'll be back next week. And you guys, as always, we like to finish it off. Smash it out. Bye, guys.